Good afternoon, and welcome to our first podcast series. Our title is,
Kentucky Roots and Axley Hoots.
and the reason for this title is we were both born and raised in Kentucky, and our maiden name is Axley. So,
And we're a hoot.
yeah.
We're a hoot to be around. So you're welcome.
Yeah. So we are our podcast is going to be about life in general. This first episode is going to be like how we grew up. But as we go along on this journey of this podcast, we want to talk about kids, marriage, divorce, family dynamics, estrangement, military life. So it's just going to be a bunch of different things. So we hope that you will enjoy what we bring to the table. I think that we have a lot to bring. We have a lot of experience with life in general. So we're going to talk about today about growing up.
We have a lot of experience. We've been on the earth, both of us now, 50 some odd years.
Exactly. Not yet. You're not 50 yet.
I'm 49. I'll be 50 later this year. But she's 3 years older than me. I need you to know that out of the gate. Okay?
So she has to tell everybody that. Everybody has to know that she is the younger one and I am the older one. But we all know who looks the youngest. So, anyway.
Well, it used to be that way.
Okay. So on this episode, though, we are going to talk about how we grew up and everything. So we grew up in a small town called Reed, Kentucky. And
would we consider that growing up, or we just started in Reed? Because we weren't there for very long.
I was there 12 years of my life.
Oh, she was 12. I was 9.
Anyway,
so.
we started.
I don't consider that growing up, but
we started off in a small town of Reed, Kentucky,
outside of Henderson, Kentucky.
I was gonna say, if you don't know where Reed, Kentucky is, look it up on a map. It's outside of Spotsville, Kentucky, and Spotsville's outside of Henderson, and there you go.
And we have the same mom, same dad.
Yep.
It's verifiable.
Yep.
But
nobody was from the milkman, even though I tried to pretend like she was. But she looks just like our dad, and I look like my mom's side.
We're not
sure. Look at my mom. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So here we go.
Yeah, there's no doubt who my ditty is. That's for sure. But yes, we are completely opposite in personalities. We have a lot of similar interests. But we're very opposite in personalities. When we were growing up, Mom used to call us daylight and dark. I like to think that I was daylight and she was dark. She's a firecracker.
That I will say yes, 100%. Yes.
I was always the peacemaker, which meant I wore my heart on my sleeve.
Yep.
And she liked to poke it.
Yeah. And it's still like that to this day.
No, she's got a big heart too. She's a softie,
but
she just tries to hide it.
Anyway, but growing up, we fought a lot.
Oh, was there ever a day that we didn't fight? That's the question.
But as we've gotten older, things have mellowed out.
I mean, we can still go at it sometimes.
Yeah, but
catch her on a bad day.
But anyways, and then I got married young. I got married when I was 19, and I moved away. My ex-husband was in the military, and then I had my first child in South Carolina.
That's probably when we stopped fighting so bad.
Probably because
when she moved out and got married and moved away.
Yep, and then she came to live with us for a little while.
In South Carolina, homeschool in high school.
Yep, and we were both homeschooled. We did go to school. We did go to regular school for a while until we got up into like late middle school, high school years, and then we
were both public school kids.
Yeah,
until she was a freshman and I was sophomore.
Yeah. So, but anyways, we have homeschooling experience. Homeschooling has changed a lot since we homeschooled. It is not the same anymore. But now we both have families of our own. I have traveled all over the country thanks to the military. Like I said, my ex-husband was in the military. He was in the Air Force for a while, and then he was in the Coast Guard. So I have lived in many different states. I have 2 daughters. I have one that lives in Texas right now. We are estranged. That's one of the topics of estrangement that I have. And then I have another daughter who lives in Illinois. She's also married to She's also
Illinois.
married to military. So, but I have 2 grands, and we both work at the same place, and we do background checks for employers. So that's been interesting, and that's all I'm going to say for that. So then I'll let her talk about what she's got going on, because there's a tasty cake that I'd like to taste here in a second. No, I'm talking about the one Kirsten's got.
Yes. My daughter has celiac disease, and we found out when she was 15 months old. Anyway, that's another story in and of itself, but Nothing Bundt Cakes has a gluten-free chocolate chip cake.
Yeah, and
we're going to taste test
we
it.
want to try it.
We're going to try it on camera just for you.
Yeah. Because, and gluten-free, let me tell you, gluten-free stuff has come a long way too, especially since my niece, her daughter, was little. When it came to baking, Mandy here was a pro. Did we even say what our names were?
Nope.
Hi, everybody. I'm Melissa.
Hi, I'm Mandy, and we're new here.
But anyways, so my niece, her daughter, Mandy always had to make everything for her. And
so she was a year old when we found out she had celiac disease, and you're now 21.
And everything was trial and error, and restaurants didn't have a lot of options.
Neither did grocery stores.
Now it's like you can find all kinds of gluten-free. Restaurants have gluten-free. Everything's gluten-free. I mean, places like Nothing Bundt Cakes has gluten-free. So, you know, I wanted to let her have a cake too. And so I found this, and I thought, oh,
we haven't tried it yet.
So we're going to try it. Oh,
is it good?
That cream cheese icing. Oh my goodness.
But you can't see my daughter. She's sitting off camera. And I'm diabetical, so I'm just going to take a little bite.
Oh my gosh. That is so good. And you would not know that it's gluten-free. Like, at all. And it's very good. So, Nothing Bundt Cakes. I'm not saying that we want to have sponsors or anything like that, but, you know, because we are very early in this game. But when we start making it big, Nothing Bundt Cakes, we advertised you first.
So, I apologize for my raspy laugh. I always tell people I have a touch of asthma too, so I tell people I sound like a Clydesdale with asthma when I laugh or when I run, because I sound kind of horsey. Like, you know, anyway, can't help it. Such is life. But anyway, I think you and I should just tell the people, describe each other. That's what I think.
I should describe you?
Yeah, and I'll describe you. So you can get a better glimpse of how we've seen each other as we grew up. Since we're supposed to be talking about where we came from.
Well.
Does that sound okay to you?
We might fight. We might fight on this episode. So,
oh, you want to go first? You are the firstborn, so go ahead.
How about you go first? I'll save the best for last.
Oh, that was so sweet. Oh, that touches my heart. Anyway, so Melissa is she is the typical oldest child, firstborn, very bossy, which now as an adult I understand she just has the gift of administration. She's very Our mom's giving us cue cards. She's telling us we're both very talented. So I need to make sure I include that. But yeah, growing up, we were completely opposite in personalities. And it's just so funny to see two people that grew up with the same parents in the same household in the same environment be wired up completely opposite of each other.
And we still are.
And still pretty much. I think we have a lot of the same, we agree a lot on things. And we have a lot of the same interests. It's just amazing how the older you get, you see how somebody filters everything through their personality. So anyway, she was right earlier. Growing up, we did fight an awful lot. A lot.
She wanted to be like me. That was the problem. She wanted to be like me. She wanted to go everywhere I went.
No. I didn't want to be like you. I just didn't want to be by myself.
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah. So I had my friends.
Because I was always.
She wanted to go with me with my friends. And if I stayed the night with my friends, she wanted to stay the night with me and my friends. Who does
that? Your little sister that wants friends.
It's like, okay, so that's one of the big downfalls of being homeschooled back when we were homeschooled.
But that's not when I was homeschooled. That's just when I was just growing up.
But later when we were homeschooled, it's like, because there wasn't homeschool groups and there wasn't, that sort of thing. So it was, you didn't make friends unless you went to church and stuff like that.
But that's okay. When I was younger, I was extremely shy. And
she is not now.
I'm not now. Praise the Lord. He pulled me out of my shell. Sometimes I'm like, Lord, can you put me back in it just a little bit so I can calm down? But then one day when I seriously prayed that, I felt like the Lord said, so you want me to put you back in what I freed you from? I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. Never mind. So anyway, no, we did argue a lot. We did butt heads a lot, but she was a fierce protector. I always said she was my best protector and my worst bully. All in the same person. So, but yeah, it was just, we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun memories. Like my clothes were her clothes and her clothes were her clothes. And what was hers was hers and what was mine was hers.
And if I did something, don't you tell Mom.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So many memories of being in our bed. We used to share a room when we were little and we would be playing house or whatever we were playing. And no matter what we played, she always was like, okay, I always had to be the authority figure and she had to be like I had to be the parent, she had to be the kid, or I had to be the teacher, she had to be the student, or we would play friends. And she would always say, okay, let's play house and you be the mom. And then I'm going to be bad and you have to spank me. And I'm like, no, can you just be nice? Or if we played school, like I had to be the teacher, she had to be the student. She's like, okay, pretend I'm bad and you have to send me to the principal. And I'm like, no, can you just be nice?
In other words,
she liked being naughty.
I liked being bad.
But sometimes she would haul off and like, and I'd be like, oh, I'm telling Mom. And then she would be like, no, I'm so sorry. I love you. Please don't tell. I'll get a spanking if you do. And I'd be like, okay, but if you do it again, I'm going to tell. And then like 10 minutes later, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to tell Mom. No, please. I'm so sorry. I love you. I won't do it again. Okay, but if you do it again.
In other words, she did everything I told her.
Basically.
Yeah.
But I have to say, now that we're older, she's still very protective. But she's very loving and
cue cards.
Oh Lord, what director? Yes, we both create crafts, and Melissa did woodworking, and Mandy does decorating and haircuts.
Would you like to be on the show?
Pammy doesn't want to be the leader. She just wants to tell the leader what to do. But anyway, Melissa is, she's fiercely protective. She's very loving of her family. She has a big heart. She has a tough exterior. Like her default setting is, huh? But But when you get past that, she's very loving. She'll bend over backwards to help anybody out, and like we do work together, and I know she's always got my back. So thank you. I love you.
Yeah.
Thanks. She's a good big sister to have. So yeah.
And again, so Mandy, growing up, was very shy,
Mm-hmm.
didn't really like to confront anything or anybody. I would stand up for her if somebody was picking on her. Example one will always stick out in my mind. She was being bullied on the bus.
Oh yes.
And it was by one of the
neighborhood bullies.
One of the neighborhood boys. I don't care how old he was. I don't care if he was older than I was. You don't pick on my sister. I'm the only one's allowed to do that.
Yes.
So she tried to pick up something off of the floor, and he tried to hold her head down so she couldn't get up. Yeah. That was the last time he did that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah. And I know, right? Yeah. I will mess you up. You don't mess with people in my family. I'll mess you up. That's probably why I do what I do. I do criminal background checks.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. But anyway, as we've gotten older, Mandy has really come out of her shell. She sings, and she's got this big, huge voice, and it's beautiful. And she gets up in front of people. She's definitely not shy anymore. Where now I'm the
introvert.
One. Yeah. I would prefer to clock out, go home, put on pajamas, sit on the couch, and be a hermit the rest of the week, weekend, whatever, and not talk to anybody. That's how I am. Whereas Mandy is not that way. Mandy is ready to go out, ready to talk to people. That's why the job that she's in is great for her, because she's in customer service, and she loves talking to people, and she loves hearing people's stories, and I don't have time for that. Because
ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, but yeah, so it's just funny how things have changed, between us and everything. And Mandy's the same way. She'll do anything for you. She'll give you the shirt off her back. So I miss having her in Illinois and not here at home.
Oh yes, I live in Illinois now. That's why I went earlier.
Yeah, because now she's like 5.5 hours away. It's funny because she's 5.5 hours one way, and then my daughter is like 5.5 hours another way. And so we're just kind of scattered, and it would just be nice to have us all like in one area, whether it's an hour or two, maybe. But sometimes it gets, back when we were smaller, it was like, and even when I lived away, it's hard because, you want to get together on Sundays, you want to have the meals, or you want to go shopping.
I used to do that.
Yeah, or you want to go shopping, and it was easier to get together on holidays and whatever. Now everybody's just so scattered, it's just hard to do that sort of thing.
Yeah, when I still lived local in Kentucky, years ago, I had a big house. I call it the big house. Through my divorce, and we had all the family dinners at my house, and we would all hang out, and it was a lot of fun. It was so much fun. And then I moved to Illinois when I remarried about 4 years ago, but thankfully my husband and I are working on getting moved back so we can be with family. So we're excited about that. Very excited. He's from Illinois, but he's ready to get out of there too. So yeah, looking forward to that quite a bit. And we're at our mom's house right now.
Yep.
This is the house where we grew up. I was 12 and you were 15. Were you 15?
No, not when we moved here. You were, hold on.
13? I was 10.
I was 13. When we moved in this house.
Yeah. So yes, and I was 10. So so anyway, this is the home we did actually grow up in.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I got into town last night, and I usually stay here at mom's, and So anyway, we're in her dining room right now.
Yeah, so this podcast is going to, it could come from different locations,
Mhm.
and we may end up doing, one of us do one episode of something that is important maybe to us.
Sorry, fluffing my hair.
Because I will probably do a segment on estrangement. Because like I said, I have a daughter that lives in Texas, and we have not had a very good relationship since my divorce from her father. Um, it's was very rocky, and then she came back into my life for a season, and then she left again. So it's been really hard. Whereas, Mandy hasn't had to deal with that. So we could end up, me just doing that segment by myself. So,
Well, she has cut the rest of us off,
and
though.
she has cut the rest
that
of us
hurts.
off. And it
Because
is
that was the
her,
first
yeah,
grandbaby on our side of the
yeah,
family. So, and I was 17 when she was born.
yeah.
And I was
So,
absolutely in love with her. So I felt like she was my first baby.
but we may do shows separately at times, and then, show them, then too, because sometimes we can't always be together. But we're going to try to make it a point to either meet up halfway, or, figure it out. We'll figure it out. Or, try to record together, but in separate locations. We're still trying to figure out this whole podcasting thing. But we do have a lot to offer, a lot to give. And again, and hopefully we can have people on. I would love to have my daughter, who lives up in Illinois, on the podcast, because she's a military wife. She's, moved around a little bit now. They're probably going to move again next year. I'm hoping it's close. It won't be as close as where they're at now, but I hope it's not off of the United States map. But anyways, and maybe we'll have other people on too, because there's all kinds of things that we're going to be going through. Like we're dealing with menopause right now, so that's a big issue because that was not talked about when we were growing up. I don't know. I guess because the women in our family had hysterectomies when they
were all fairly young.
Fairly young, so they didn't have to go through menopause. Mm-hmm. So there was nobody there to talk. Nobody talked about it because they didn't go through it. So here we are.
Yeah, and we've been talking about doing a podcast for a while. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I have to say, I was kind of like, oh, I'm not one of these that's like, oh, let's do what everybody else is doing. I've never been like a fangirl, a fad girl. I don't care. I don't.
But everybody has something.
I don't want to follow the trend, but yeah,
everybody has something different to offer.
Right.
What one person is going through, you might be experiencing it, but somebody else may not. Mm-hmm. So, because I listen to podcasts every single day,
right.
And we both are going through all kinds of different health issues. Right now too, I really don't want to discuss those at the moment. We'll leave those for a different podcast. But I've got some testing coming up this week for myself, and then she's got some stuff going on too this week. So
welcome to 50.
I know, it's like you hit 50 and it goes. But yeah, so we do. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I think. Yep. I think it's just going to be great.
We've been talking about it the last couple of years.
We have.
And I told Melissa at the end of last year, end of 2025, I was like, look, we need to get serious about this if we're going to do it. We need to put it on the to-do list for 2026.
Yeah.
So here we are.
And, you don't know how this is going to do until we actually do it and put it out there for everybody to see, or some people see, or two people, or whoever. So we hope you've enjoyed this first segment of Kentucky Roots and
Axley Hoops.
So we're the sisters.
That's us.
That's us. And so we hope you'll join us again. And I hope it'll be sooner than later. So, but anyways, until next time, have a good day.